welcome to Let Freedom Ring. And I just want to do a quick plug because I noticed Leo Connors is doing this on the Ring and All Other Sports, so I think it's a good idea. If you're enjoying this content, subscribe to the page on YouTube, Let Freedom Ring with Dan Bollier. Like the Facebook page, share these videos because, the more it gets out there, the more good for me, good for you if you enjoy the content. So definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. But my guest, good friend of mine, Plymouth State alumni as well.
It's me.
Chris Lind, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, Dan?
Good,
Thanks
good.
for having me.
Yeah.
Happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
I know we've been talking about this for
Months.
a
Months.
while.
I was down in Georgia, so wasn't in the area, and finally got back home, and so here I am.
And I just want to point out, I think we talked about it last July 4th. I got a message from you saying, hey, I'm getting married today. I go, okay. He goes, but I'm like a mile or two away from you. Do you want to come say hi?
Yeah. We were walking around, see Dan the man, hang out, get a quick snap on the beach, and then I was off to shave my head, shave my face, and go get married. Yeah. And luckily the sun poked out that day. It was a little cloudy, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was a good day, though. I had a good time.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get to know you a little bit.
All right.
Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I was born in Manchester, but I was there for a little while, but basically just till I was 4 years old, and then my parents moved to Hooksett. Oh. And I pretty much lived there ever since. I mean, I live in Manchester now with my wife. I've lived there for about 2 years. But again, pretty much spent the whole time in Hooksett with moonlighting at Plymouth for 4 years. And then I lived in East Boston for a year. So,
okay.
But I'm pretty much born and raised here. Went to Central High School, class of 06. Beat your Nashua High School. Last year it was Nashua High School. We won the state championship in football off them. So.
Well, I know Central was always like good at football.
Yeah, I don't know if they've been really awesome or like that dominant since. It was like 99 to 04. We only missed one state title game. We were in every state title game or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, we won a lot of them. We were good. No thanks to me, though. I was a bench rider. So.
What position in football did you play?
I played all along the offensive line and defensive end, but I wasn't good at any of them. So
that's all right.
Special teams kind of guy.
Hey, that was in my short stint with football, I had the most tackles on kickoff freshman year.
There we go.
So, which a wrestler.
Little known stat.
Yeah.
Little known stat.
Little known stat.
We had to pull back for that one.
Yeah. But and we used to do this on the show. We'd ask one thing everybody should know about you, but I just felt like it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
What's 3 things that everybody should know about you?
You can trust me. I'm honest. I'll be honest with you. And I don't know. I can only think of 2.
Okay.
Those are my 2. So I met you halfway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people get nervous around other people. Even if you know someone for a long time, I think that it's hard to open up and truly trust them. And I don't think that people really understand what that means because there's always some sort of angle, whether it's someone you work with, like the boss will get mad or, you'll have this over me or, whatever it is. And people have gotten burned in the past. And even if you're good friends with them, they won't. So I'm just the kind of person where I try to compartmentalize those things in my life. So if you're working with me and you're not doing too great, or I don't think you're doing too great, I'm not going to hold that against you in other areas, in other arenas of life. So I don't know. I think I see a lot of that in life, and so that's what really stuck with me.
What can they hold over your head, type of thing?
Yeah, or you missed or you were a little bit late, and boss didn't notice, whatever it is, or whatever they think it is. I see people pretty paranoid. I mean, work is pretty much life for me now. So in all my work relationships, both Army and civilian, it's been like that. I think it's just kind of a people thing. And so I'm a pretty trustworthy person. I won't sell you out. So.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like trustworthy and I like authentic people that
are
who they are and you get what you get type of thing.
Yeah, that's a good and bad thing for me, though, because I have been burned pretty badly, pretty bad. And then as far as being authentic, sometimes that rubs people the wrong way. So you can't outwin them all. And I've learned that lesson the hard way. So
Totally get that. Totally agree. Now, 3rd question, sticking with the theme of the show, which is Let Freedom Ring.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be an American?
I thought long and hard about this one when I got the question, and I'll tell you what, I think it's like pride and stubbornness, like passion. Those are the 3 words that come to mind. I think that a lot of Americans still have a lot of pride about the United States of America. I think that we're we're better than France. We're better than the UK or whatever the case may be, or we're better than China or Russia. So there's a lot of pride in being an American. I don't know that that's necessarily true for other countries. I've met quite a few people from other countries, like most people have, but especially through rugby. So a lot of other England offshoot countries. And I feel like that's a big thing. And then I feel like we're kind of stubborn as a people too. We have a lot of passion. Current political situation.
Oh, yeah.
Great example. The only thing that I think stinks about that current situation is I think it used to be a kind of like me and you we'll fight and we'll dog it out. But if you're from the outside, we're together.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of starting to crack a little bit.
I might agree with you because I remember being in Canada and they were bad-mouthing George Bush, and I was not a fan of George Bush, but I was like, no.
Wait a second.
We can say stuff about him.
Wait a minute.
You're a Canadian. You can't say anything about him. But on the flip side, when there was someone else in office, more recent, I didn't care what anybody said about him.
True. Same.
I just didn't.
Same.
Hopefully we get back to, like you said, like we watch out. Yeah, we can be divided here, but we watch out for our own at the end of the day.
I hope so. And I still think that's mostly the case. But I think it's, if you had to put a percentage on it, where it was like, I felt like it was 100% before, I think we might be at like 70-30, 60-40 territory.
I could see that.
It's getting rough, so.
Do you think we ever get too hooked on our symbols? Like when you think, like I love, me, I'm always got the American flag stuff going. Do some people get too hooked on that as like they think that's the pride of being an American is just symbols and not like what actually this country stands for? Or
yeah, I do. I think but different things mean
different things.
To different people, right? So I do think we get hung up on that a little bit too much, but I think the problem there is not so much the symbol, is the blind kind of association. And you just like quickly tribalize.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, well, just because you feel that way, I'm just going to carte blanche place all of these things on you where I don't really know what you think about all those other things either. But if that's your one sticking point, if that's your hill to die on, so to speak, and it's like the flag, then I mean, that's a good one to pick in my opinion.
Yeah.
But getting overly upset about it, forgetting about the principles behind it. A lot of people get very upset with burning the flag. I mean, not a fan.
I'm not a fan
Personally,
either.
not a fan.
Do you have the right to do it?
Right.
Sure. Do I like it? No.
And that's where I'm kind of at with it. And I think that people, again, need to separate. And I think we have trouble separating. So, yeah, I do feel like we get fixated. And you just got to separate it for a while. It's like, hey, like the whole taking a knee thing.
Yeah.
It's like, think past the initial, like, if you don't like that, try to, and I don't think there's a lack of empathy, a lack of like trying to put yourself in there. And then people will say that they do, but I don't think that they really do. I think that they still go over there. You can put on someone else's shoes and walk a mile in them, but you're just a mile away with their shoes, if you still don't like them.
I agree. And if you even talk about like, it's a weird thing because when you talk about flag burning, well, the flag actually stands for, in a way to me, like your right to actually do that. Because we have so much freedoms in it. Do we like it? No.
Right.
But does that, I guess that is part of our principles, is to have the right to say whatever you want.
Right.
Actually,
circling back to the question of what does it mean to be an American, that kind of, in our discussion that kind of teased it out for me, is we're kind of rebellious.
Yeah.
We
it was a rebellion that led to the.
Right, yeah. We don't do things that people like. Yeah. So I think that is a lot of our core too. And so, yeah, I think we do get fixated on symbols though, to close it out, and too hard sometimes. Like, take a back seat, drink some water.
I totally agree. And I love this, like, because everybody knows I like to carry around my flag.
Yeah.
I wear all my flag stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. But I also can understand, like, what it stands for is that people that have different opinions than me, they got the right to say those opinions.
Right. We need to get back to more of that,
to
be honest. I think there's a lot less of that nowadays. It's labeling, it's demonizing, it's dehumanizing. We forget that the people that are shouting on the other side, they got a family too.
Yeah.
That's somebody's husband, wife, daughter, son, uncle, cousin, whatever the case may be. And it's like, they got families too. They celebrate whatever they celebrate,
Yeah.
I'll just, Christmas, Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, whatever. They sit down, they eat with their families, they enjoy their time, and they enjoy the same things that we do. And so they're just passionate about this subject. But, I mean, people get fired up.
They do. And they have the right, and, at the end of the day too, because you can get into like this, like, nonstop thing because you're like, well, Kaepernick has the right to kneel, but you have the right to say that you don't like it too. So it's like, it's just so, I guess my thing is, as long as, I just don't believe in censoring people. Now, I know when you use social media, they can do that. It's their own private thing. But I mean,
I disagree. We can get into that later too, but I disagree with that a little bit. We can continue.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, whatever.
Well, so when you talk about, this is a big debate right now.
Yeah.
Can social media censor in their private companies?
Because it seems to be happening more than
Well, they're
ever.
the modern day newspaper.
Yeah.
Right? So why is it any different than the media to me?
Yeah.
Right? Like you can reach, think about, teleport back 100 years ago, the year's 1921. Where are people getting their information from? Like talking to other people, and a newspaper is a primary means of communication. There's no radio, there's no television, there's no any of that stuff. So you read a newspaper, or you read flyers or whatever. And we protect that speech, and it was protected then. So now you have this mass communication device that is literally all around the world in everybody's pocket, and they can read things. And censoring, blocking, or, and I think to a point, right? Just because we do not have complete freedom of speech. People forget that. You cannot run into a burning building, stuff like that, yada, yada. We're not Supreme Court experts. We don't need to recount that here, I guess. But, that's, to me, you have something that everybody uses. Now, okay, do they use it by choice? Yeah, but is it a choice now? Because if so many people are on it, if this is my only option, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when you talk about the newspaper companies back in the 1920s. Okay, Dan could set up a flyer and he could start his own newspaper company, but how many people is he really going to reach?
When you think about the Boston Massacre, it was an exaggerated thing.
True.
I mean the Patriots, Paul Revere, all of them, Franklin, Sam Adams. I'm blanking right now, but Samuel Adams. I mean, they stirred the pot to get everybody going.
Right.
So you're right. I mean, it is a weird thing. I guess social media is weird to me. I think you should be able to say whatever you want on there.
Right.
I think, but I think the problem sometimes is fact versus opinion. When you're disputing an actual fact and you're factually inaccurate, that becomes, I think, a problem because that could spread like wildfire.
I don't know the answer though.
Yeah.
So that's the other big thing is, I'm a big proponent of, if you got a problem, bring a solution. Don't just bring more problems and complain about the problems. But I think the other thing that's difficult is, again, I'll just use this example of teleporting back 100 years to the written word.
Yeah.
It's very controllable, the information that you can put out. You can verify it. You can look at it. You have time. In today's day and age, it's instantaneous. You don't have time. And so you're going to put things out, right? And maybe you're not going to verify them. And there's a lot of disingenuous sharing of information, and it can be insidious. It can do very negative things to people, and it can distort and create problems in a very quick manner, right? Like, I don't want to go crazy political here, but when we talk about the riots of last summer, and a lot of people would say, well, we didn't wait till all the evidence came out and people reacted, and because that's the reactionary world. So imagine doing that with wrong information, completely wrong information, and now you have riots or some other thing where, something in virtual world creates a huge problem in the real world and people get hurt and die. Now I think that's a serious problem. And so, but it's hard because how do you get this information? Very hard instantly, because everybody has access to and manipulating that same platform. So at the same token, on my right hand, I'll say, everybody has access to this. So it is it should be treated as a media and have the same restrictions and all the other stuff like a newspaper would. But on the other hand, it's but an individual has access to that. And if it goes crazy, if they have 50, 100 million followers, that could could spider very quickly. And so now you have a lot of problems. So I don't know what the answer is. Hopefully we can find a way forward. It's a scary world. Yeah. We'll see.
Well, I got to say, when we were kids, I never would have imagined anything like this being a thing. You know what I mean? We had AIM maybe back in the day.
Oh my God, don't even,
And that was about it. You had TV.
Well, you just dated yourself without dating yourself.
Yeah, I mean, back in the,
Tell me you're old without telling me you're old. Yeah, you just pulled that one. Yeah.
But no, that's good. That's a great topic, and I like that. We can talk about that because it does get people very fired up. But it's a good topic to discuss.
Yeah, it's a long one. That maybe a separate.
Could be a whole nother show.
Could be. Yeah, I think we could leave it at that. That's good for me.
Supreme Court recently, and I think it was in Pennsylvania, but now I'm I just wrote down the headline because this got me.
Right.
Speaking on the online world.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Supreme Court sides with a cheerleader, high school cheerleader who swore online and was removed, I believe, from the team. I got to go with, what did you think of that?
So now, right, we're just talking about how the digital world, individual users, you're putting this out there, and it can impact. So now people are getting, we'll date ourselves here. It's the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Dan Bollier and Chris Lind are in high school, and we're like pretty fired up and mad about whatever happened on the tryouts to our team. We're together walking down the street. You're swearing, talking that crap or whatever, and it just stays there. Maybe our group of friends, we laugh about it. We do some funny stuff or whatever, make some jokes. Maybe it even becomes a running joke, stuff we talk about in the cafeteria, in the back of class, in the school building itself. But it's not, none of that is permanent, right? Because it's stored between the ears. It's in each one of our minds. And so it's not out there. And now you put it on a Snapchat, even as something that's designed to disappear, right? And now it doesn't because
take a screenshot,
yep. Right? And it gets out there. And yeah, that whole argument was whether it affected and disrupted school and whether she should be able to be sanctioned because of that. And that whole thing is crazy. So now you're taking the school and putting it in home life. And now I can get suspended for something that I do on my couch.
Yeah.
Really? That's insane to me. I think the Supreme Court got it right.
I agree.
I think that I'm glad that they got it right, but it does raise some very interesting side questions. Every case is individual, but precedent, right? So hopefully these things kind of don't go that far again. But man, what a tough one. Yeah. Because she still didn't get to play the, hey, she's right, but it's years later now, and you won, you get the satisfaction, I guess. But
I mean, I guess if, my thing is, because, I used to work in the schools. Now, if she was cyberbullying another student,
right,
I think that's a different case. If she went off on off the rails on a Facebook post and she wasn't putting down another student, and let's just be clear, you say one thing to somebody one time online, that's not cyberbullying. It's got to be a pattern.
Yeah, sustained pressure.
It can't be like I tell you off one time on Facebook. It's got to be like every time Chris does something, I'm going. Which you've cyberbullied me a little bit over the years, but the Patriots, so that's okay.
That's going to continue here.
But
that's going to continue here. I have a feeling.
But you know what I mean? It's different. Cyberbullying's got to be a pattern.
Yeah.
It can't just be a one-off thing.
Yeah, but it's crazy how technology. This all kind of loops into the previous question too. It's just crazy how technology has creeped into every facet of our existence, and it just affects you everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, but people want to participate in these things. Why do we have Snapchat? Because it's fun.
Yes.
I'm 33 years old. I have the Snapchat. You know what I mean? The Snap Face, the Instabook, whatever people call it. Yeah. And it's like, I have it, and when I just, I was just at school in Georgia, and I was with a lot of younger folks, 10 years younger than me. They couldn't believe I had one. They were shocked.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had it for years. Probably had it since before you were even in college, for years. And they're like, they couldn't believe it. It's like I was 95 years old. But yeah, because people enjoy it, and it is fun. But oh man, can it get you some hot water?
It definitely can. And I mean, I know I've said some things sometimes where I was like, I want a little, because I try to keep my Facebook fun for the most part. But then some, because that's why, like, you probably noticed, like, my feed isn't as political anymore, because one, I got a show. If I want to talk politics, I'll come do it here.
Right.
And two, it's like, this is going nowhere. These arguments are going absolutely
circular,
nowhere.
Devolving into personal attacks very quickly.
Yeah. And it just was like, eventually it's like, okay, it's not fun anymore, and it's just like.
I relearn that lesson every couple of months. The other day on a beer, I'm a fan of craft beer, and so on a beer like craft page, I'm like, this guy was clearly bashing a brewery, and I was like, hey, can the admins take this stuff down? I'm sick of brewery bashing. Come on, like, if you get a bad beer, like, reach out to the company. There's so many avenues now. You could go to them in person. You can message them online and all this other stuff. And the admin's like, oh man, I got crushed. I got roasted right off the oh man, I got crushed. So yeah, learned my lesson. I was like, oops, shouldn't argue with people.
It just gets I don't know. It's all craziness.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend too much time on this, but Kamala Harris going to the border.
Yeah.
I guess it's been I guess we've been having more of a border crisis since this new administration's come in. Good to see her go at least visit. I don't know what she can do.
She's going to get roasted for visiting either way.
Yeah.
That's a no-win situation, so good on her for taking it on. Because if you do it, you're roasted. If you don't, you're roasted. So, I mean, they're in a really no-win situation. I have a lot of, not like intimate knowledge of the southern border crisis, but let's just put it this way. There's been a lot of problems down there for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's coming from both sides. The policies in this country from both sides of the aisle They've politicized it, and they've almost used it as a political weapon against each other. I don't like that. There's thousands of people's lives at stake. When you say that you're going to do stuff and create policies and let people in, what are people going to do? They're going to come to you, right?
Yeah.
When you impose a massive amount of sanctions on another country to get them to actually do something to stop this, because that country is mostly corrupt in Mexico.
It's a problem,
right?
Yeah.
But and then they finally start to do something about it, you've just stopped them at a different point in time with maybe a government that's not so nice and not so easy to deal with, right? Because as soon as you cross that magic border, well, not entirely true, but to a certain point, like the United States government doesn't get flexed on by drug cartels, but the Mexican government certainly does. And I don't want to talk anymore about that because I don't want them to come after me with the cartels. Please don't come after me.
Did we just have like an Amber Alert about
Yeah, please leave me
hit the
alone.
edit button there? No.
But either way, like I think that both sides, it's absolutely disgusting what they've done there. We've created that problem. Make no mistake about it. We've created that problem, and we're not dealing with it very well.
I feel like a big part of our divide is we want simple answers to complicated situations.
Oh, they're going to take decades to fix that. It's not,
I mean, because some people would say, well, Trump was right. Border wall.
Right.
The only thing is we know that President Trump never believed Mexico was ever going to pay for that wall. That was, a campaign promise that was like so out there. You're like, well, how do you plan to do that? So some people just say a wall won't work. I don't know, honestly, what the answer is. I do think, when illegal immigrants come to the country, a lot of times.
Careful calling them that, Dan.
Yeah. Well, you don't. Well, you don't.
Migrants.
You want to
people.
I don't like when people just call them illegals. I think that's it's kind of like degrading and offensive. But when people come over and they're getting hired for jobs, if that's illegal, why are these businesses not being held accountable when they do that?
Right.
What's the sanction there? I just don't think it's a simple.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I can tell you that is simple is to stop creating policies that create the problem.
Yeah.
Right. So the current powers that be said, hey, we're going to remove all these sanctions Mexico. So Mexico goes, okay, we're going to stop helping you solve the problem. That's a problem. Yeah. And then the second thing, they said, hey, you're going to get all this, asylum and all these. I don't want to list all the things because it'll get lengthy, but they list all these things. And so what do you think people are going to do? Literally, like they mapped this. Like people understood that people from Honduras and Guatemala and Central America, because it's not Mexico. These are not primarily Mexicans. There's over 60 different countries that people have been apprehended, and that's just in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 terrorists on the known watch list are coming through our porous southern border. Okay, and so just on a humanitarian level, I think it's a problem because people are like, oh, don't bring your kids. Yeah. Well, what are they going to do? You're going to leave them? Yeah. I'm not leaving my kids. Yeah. Like literally, what is so bad that they would risk that? A thousands of mile journey through human trafficking and, like I said, there's a lot of problems down there. They can get scooped up or killed. It's not just Mother Nature that's after them, which, by the way, extremely dangerous. The desert, an extremely unforgiving environment, super hot during the day, super cold at night. The temperature change can swing as much as 30 degrees. You're going to go down pretty bad if you don't know how to survive. And it's not like, hey, man, kill a lizard, crack a cactus open and take a sip of water. Like, I don't know, man. I walk around with a rucksack constantly, and I could keep, 7 days of MREs in it and some water, and it sucks carrying. Yeah. And you're going to do that in over hundreds of miles?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And we've created that problem, like I said, and it's through our policies. So we got to start there. I don't think that's going to solve it immediately, but I think it's a good place to start.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think we do have a problem, not in the last 2 administrations coming in and just reversing what the other administration did.
Horrible.
Where, hopefully we get away from that because you don't need to reverse everything from the previous administration.
There's a human cost down there, and I just hope we can lower that.
Yeah.
These people just want to live. They're not, most of them aren't bad people. Are there criminals that cross? Of course.
Yeah.
So.
And again, that goes back to why I don't, and I've heard people call them illegals, and I go, you're dehumanizing them. And when you dehumanize people, then it's very easy for you to be like, well, just do this to them or do that. If you look at them as actual people, maybe you could get to the, actual solutions more, in my opinion.
Well, like I said, we change our own policies and then maybe look into the problems that are happening in those countries. If we want to be, Team America, world police, let's stop spending some money in the Middle East and go right back to our backyard. And which is Central and Southern America, and help those countries because they're running from something.
Yeah.
They're not just saying, "Oh man, life is okay here, but it could be better." People don't move like that. But people don't do something that drastic with their entire life because things are okay where they're at.
I totally agree with that. So we got some fan questions and comments.
Yeah.
First from Bobby Murphy, and I'm glad that you corrected me because I just saw the initials there. It says thank you for your service.
Yeah. Get that a lot.
Yeah. So Bobby, a friend of yours?
Yep. Bobby and I served together in the National Guard. He is now has the DD 214 blanket, as we call. He's got his discharge papers, so he's all done. I am still in. On the thank you for your service thing, I don't like it when people say that to me because I haven't been anywhere. I haven't done anything. Hey, it's serious because I am in the Army, in the National Guard, and I take it seriously, but I've just done play Army for now. So, I mean, I don't get mad, but I just think to myself, I'm like, yep, okay, I'm just trying to get my Red Bull. I'm moving on with my day. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of people just kind of look at it as whether you've gone overseas or not, like you're stepping up to the plate.
Right.
And not everybody, I mean, obviously, I don't know. We have one of the biggest, military forces in the world, I believe. I mean, it's up there.
I think we're top 5.
Yeah.
In terms of total manpower, I think we're behind like China and Russia.
So just keeping people in there because we'd be in a lot of trouble without our military.
It's true. It's true. And like I said, I mean, it's not, it's not all about going somewhere and doing something. I saw a meme online. It was kind of funny, shared by one of my active duty buddies, and he was just like, 60% of the commitment is you miss the anniversaries, the birthdays, the deaths, the weddings, like the events. And it's true, like even in the National Guard, like, hey, I got 3 weeks of annual training. I just spent 6 months away from home, but I'm still going, and it's 3 weeks. And now I'm going to be having a lot of fun, playing Army in the woods down in Pennsylvania, getting to wear the face paint, shoot some blanks and have some fun. Throw on some artillery sims. It'll be a good time. But, I could be on the Cape with my wife enjoying hanging out. So. And
I think this, one that, it gets talked about more, but military spouses make a lot of sacrifices too.
Oh, huge. Yeah. I mean, my wife and I get married, and 60 days later, I'm gone for 6 months.
Yeah.
So.
That ain't easy.
No, certainly not. My buddy's been almost gone a year.
Yeah.
So.
But,
been tough.
But no, we appreciate. So I think I'm sure it's different, but take it.
Yeah, I take it in stride.
Dan Smith wants to know toughest part of the transition from playing to coaching, and we're talking about rugby.
Yeah, so toughest part of the transition is when you're in training and you're at practice, you can't step in there, and you're not practicing. I coach at the high school level, so it's different than coaching grown men. So the toughest part for me was not getting over involved in the practices. You just got to kind of sit back. And then as a player on every team, at least in rugby, so unlike my football days where I was a bench warmer, in rugby I actually played, and I would play more than my share most of the time because I would play in the B matches or whatever. And so just simply watching and being so invested is super tough to not start yelling and yelling. My first year coaching at Plymouth, it was hilarious. The guys taped one of the games. I think it was at Holy Cross. And they're on the opposite side of the field, and you could just hear me screaming. And I was like mortified. I was like so embarrassed. I'm like, man, what am I doing over there?
Yeah.
Shut up, coach. Shut up. Yeah. Like, so that's been the hardest part, is being able to sit back, objectively kind of analyze and not get stuck into the drills and all that other stuff. And like, oh, let me show you the scrum. And you get in there and it's like, all right, cool, coach. We're like, we know you know what you're doing. That's why you're the coach. Like, check the box. Got it. So that's been pretty tough, I think. Yeah.
Last fan question, just from Spencer Dixon.
Yeah.
When are you getting your Ranger tab?
Ooh, this one hurts. This one hurts right in the field. So I was gone for 6 months, like we've been kind of alluding to. I was at the Infantry Basic Officer Leader course down at Fort Benning, and it was tough. So I had Ranger School right after, and I got to RTAC, which is a National Guard pre-Ranger course, and I blew up my foot. So right now I have a fractured bone in my foot. I just kind of got back to running. It just got healed up. I'm hoping to get back down there next spring. I have to try out for it. Who knows? I think I might be a little bit too beat up. We'll see, because it's not just I've torn my bicep off my arm from the Army, my shoulder's disgusting. I've had an AC joint repair, so, everyone, by the way, that's my medical history. Just throwing it out there, casual. But no, I hurt my foot real bad, and it stinks because I put a lot into it. I was in really good shape. I was running really good, and I was hanging out with the young guns, getting ready to go. If I had made it, I would have graduated tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you got time.
Always next time. I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to give it the old college try. And if it doesn't work out for me next time, that's it for me. So.
Now, what got you into rugby? Did you start at Plymouth, or were you already playing before that?
I was already playing before that, so I'll keep this short and sweet. Basically, a friend of mine, we're seniors in high school. Like I already told you, we were kind of the bums on the football team. We didn't play, but we lifted and whatever and all this stuff. And my junior year, it was after football season ended. Me and my buddy, we had a project to do for our physics class, and he was like, "Hey man, I'm skipping out on that. I'm going to rugby practice." Now my friend and mentor, but at the time was my rugby coach, this guy JR. He was just going into a sports store at the mall in New Hampshire, and my buddy worked there to buy some stuff. And he's like, "Hey, you're a big kid. You in high school. I got this high school team. Come out and play." And so he gave it a try, and I was like, "Oh, so we're not going to be doing our schoolwork? I'll go play with you." So we went out there, and I never looked back after that. Was playing three days a week, and then rolled right into Plymouth State and played men's after that until shoulder injury.
Yeah.
No health insurance.
Oh, goodness.
Never going pro.
Yeah.
No sniff of going pro either. even if I was like not injured, I wasn't close to that level. So I was like, yeah.
And I was gonna say so your time at Plymouth State,
right,
won a national championship.
I know, that was fun. Good time.
I was not part of that team because I kind of and it was kind of funny. I just want to kind of point this out. I was never gonna go to an alumni game.
Right.
Because I had and I guess I'll address this on the show because I've never actually really talked about it publicly, was that I had got pulled at a game. We were playing Keene State for like third place at New England's.
Oh, yeah.
I got pulled, but I was like, all right, whatever. I was pretty upset about it because I felt like I'd worked hard to get into the starting lineup. Now, my fundamentals with rugby were never great. I could tackle and I could run.
Right, wrestler.
So they're like, stick them on the wing. And I was like very proud to be there. Mm-hmm. So then we go into the next season. We're doing the spring stuff, and they're just hyping up that Chris Tofty is coming to the team.
Oh,
which
boy.
Means
don't say that name.
Which means
that's Beetlejuice.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't talked to Chris in a very long time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he's made a lot of people upset. But I kind of was like, okay, so they have no interest in keeping me in the starting lineup, and they don't have any interest in me really doing anything here. And I remember just being like pissed off about it to the point where I was like, well, I could just be using my time. 36-year-old Dan wouldn't have handled it that way.
Right.
21, 22-year-old Dan definitely had a little chip on his shoulder. Yeah. So I was never going to go. I was never going to go to an alumni game. And then I ran into you at, what bar was that? I don't remember. Somewhere, and you're like, no, you got to go. You got to. And I was like, so I went that year. So I thank you for that because I never would have done it.
Yeah, I didn't have the best run with the team either. So as you were going through that, I was new to the team. And as a freshman, I just came right out for practice because I knew a couple of guys on the team, so I knew when to go. I'd have to wait for the activities fair. And I remember talking about this with some of the guys from my class. In subsequent seasons, they were shocked to find out that I was like their age, like that I was a freshman because I had played 2 years in high school. I made the New England team. Like I was pretty good, and and when I came to Plymouth, so they used me and they brought me right into the fold, and I got to play. And they told me like, hey, you're not going to start because you're going to be behind these guys. They're older. They're just as good. And I didn't have any problems with that. And then the next year as a sophomore going into this national championship thing, it was the same kind of thing. Like I was kind of getting like, hey, whatever, because people get mad at me because at younger Chris I would go hard all the time. So it didn't matter if it was practice or not. And I didn't think it was personal, but some people were getting pretty mad that I was, playing hard all the time. And, I was being a jerk about it. And I'll be honest with you, it was more me than it was them.
Yeah.
I think they could have handled things better. But at the same time, like, I was definitely a big-time jerk. Kind of smoothed over because we're going for that national championship, and then the best players got to play. And I truly believe on that team at second row, I was definitely the best option that they had. And we won the game. We won the national championship. I broke my face in 3 spots and dislocated a finger. Wasn't too bad of a time. And then, so all's well that ends well.
Yeah.
That ends okay. But I kind of went through my own little struggles into the starting lineup, and
I think when you're younger, like you just think,
oh man, I thought the world revolved around me. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
And I was like, who are these guys?
Yeah.
And I was so rude about it too, because that was my other thing is like they would, they brought it to me. I remember pretty mature. Hey man, you need to settle down. And I took that as like
You know what I think the toughest thing, like even looking back though, I know Dueno was like one of our coaches, but he was kind of like not really making the decisions. I think Rob was really making the decisions.
Oh, Rob Howes, if you ever watch this, yeah, we all know you were the man. You still are the man because you put together the whole alumni game, but absolutely.
I think it was tough to hear it more from your peers than a coach.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, and maybe I would have handled it the same way. But Dueno was like a figurehead. He's a great guy. Great guy. I'm not, you know.
Oh, I inherited that years later, not from him, but when I became the Plymouth State rugby coach for one season, I was a figurehead. I didn't make any of the calls. I discussed things with the team.
Yeah.
And they kind of put me out there. I don't know. It was a rite of passage for Norsemen alumni, some of us.
But I mean, Rob definitely, he knew more about the game than anybody I think I've ever met.
Oh, sure.
So he definitely should have been calling shots. It's just,
definitely.
You know. Why the Giants? Why are you a New York Giants fan?
Oh, man. That movie, Little Giants.
Really?
Yeah, I was a little kid, loved the movie, and then I just remember my earliest memories watching football was Redskins. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, Washington football team.
Well, they were the Redskins.
They were the Redskins against the Giants, and I wanted the Giants to win. And then they were my team. I just stuck with them. Never been an overly crazy Patriots hater. I kind of more poke the bear with the Patriots fans because it's just kind of funny to troll them.
You probably have a lot on your timeline living in this area.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
You know.
Yeah. So I like to troll Patriots fans, and it just so happens that we took 2 Super Bowls off them. You know.
Yeah.
No big deal.
What is your favorite sports moment?
For David sports? Tyree. Are you kidding me? Watching that live, I was like, I wasn't even out of my seat. That play is just such an amazing play. Even if you are a Patriots fan, you got to be like, what just happened? Has to probably be one of the single greatest plays in sports history.
How he did that.
The roller coaster of emotion. And then just chucking the ball, he doesn't look. Look at the tape. He doesn't, he takes a peek downfield and just hucks it.
And he's got Rodney Harrison on him, of all people.
Draped all over him.
Yeah, it was
Uses the helmet to make the catch. Great. David Tyree, my guy.
If it wasn't the Patriots, I would have loved that play. But I do think it ranks. We did a Super Bowl episode, and we did a bracket of best plays, and the round table we had the Tyree catch got pretty far into the brackets.
Yeah.
We just want to give a shout out, Mark Hoppus of Blink 182, going through chemotherapy. Didn't really say what type of cancer he has. My favorite album, one of my favorite albums of all time, was Dude Ranch by Blink 182.
Yeah.
I remember hearing it at the Sports and Music Festival on MTV. That's how I became a Blink 182 fan. And you were a fan.
I'm a Blink 182 fan. I'm not a huge crazy fan, but I like their music. Yeah, I mean, who didn't? In our age group, I don't really feel like there's many people that didn't like them.
No, I mean, nobody likes you when you're 23, and I'm like, man, that was a long time ago for me at this point. When I hear that song, I go, damn, 23.
I remember listening to it. Now, when I was 14 or 15 or whatever, however old I was when it came out, and I was like, man, I'm never gonna be that old. Here I am. Ouch.
Too funny, but hopefully he does well with that. We're gonna do some top fives.
All right. I got my list.
Perfect. Do you have a top 5 favorite albums?
So we had this kind of discussion offline, me and you. We talked about albums are crazy now. It's hard.
They're not like they were.
Well, and not only that, because when you got Spotify and all these things, people just make their own playlists. I mean, when you drop an album, there's less about album art or whatever, because when we're growing up, we buy the tape and the Walkman, put it in the CD and the Discman, all that other stuff. You don't do that really anymore. And so with everything, you can just, I could be listening to rap 1 minute, I could be listening to 60s music the next second. So, but I did manage to put together a list. So this is all music that I currently and still listen to on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And then I found some of the albums that they're on. But Ride the Lightning, Metallica.
Ooh, yes.
Outstanding album. Pyromania, Def Leppard, hugely underrated. I think their best work is on that. Everyone, Pour Some Sugar on Me, all those other songs. It was great. Too Late for Love, I'll take that any day over those songs. Paranoid, Black Sabbath, great album. It has Iron Man on it. It has Paranoid on it. War Pigs, great songs. And then you're going to love this one, I think. Born in the USA, The Boss. There's so many fire classic songs on that. That made him, still probably makes him millions to this day. So those are my... in no particular order, but that's a solid 5, I'll call it. Maybe not my top 5, but solid.
Solid 5. Yeah. I do love Bruce Springsteen a lot, and I've gotten to be more of a fan of him as I got older.
Yes.
And those songs, now you listen to him back, and you're like, and then when he's got Courtney Cox coming on stage with him dancing before she was a star.
Right.
And then I get to see Silvio from Sopranos when he was in the band. If you go back and
he was in the band? I didn't know
yeah,
that.
Steve Van Zandt, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Top 5 movies?
Okay, again, there's another solid 5, not top 5.
Okay.
I don't know. But I like First Blood, right? So that's Rambo.
Oh, yeah,
one.
yeah.
If everybody, the actual name of the movie, I believe, is First Blood.
Yeah.
Great movie. Another war movie, Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
You know, Stanley Kubrick.
That's dark.
Yes.
But was really what was
Legendary
going on.
movie. Really like it, though. And then The Goonies.
Yes.
Obviously. Goonies, great show. I'm looking down my list here. Terminator. I really liked that one. It was a cool, like, futuristic apocalypse.
The first one or
the first one? The
okay.
Terminator, yeah. I really liked
Both
that.
are classics.
Because, I mean, think about I don't think, maybe you were born. I definitely was not when the first one came out.
I think it came out in 84 and I was born in 84. So.
Okay, yeah. So, but it's like when you think about that movie, like, in the future apocalypse, again, like, think about all the technology we have today. Like, I think people can, like, oh, yeah, I can see that. But, like, in the 80s, it was kind of super futuristic, so.
The weirdest thing, and it's so, and this is, it mind boggles me to this day, John Connor's father. So it was already written that he was going to come back to the future, because John Connor, she gets pregnant with him.
With Reese.
And he's already existing in the future. Like, that's the most confusing piece
Yeah,
of
I
it.
can't uncork that one, man. I've thought about it, too.
I mean, it hurts your brain to
Yeah.
like, try to wrap your brain around it. So you're like, these were always in motion to happen?
Yeah, is this an endless loop?
Yeah.
And then the last one I had is, I was just going to throw out a random one, The Sandlot.
Yeah.
I mean, in reference to the shirts that are off camera, that's why I brought a Goonies and a Sandlot t-shirt. But yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, Sandlot's up there for me. I mean, I love a good baseball movie. And,
Sure.
And nothing's going to remind you of playing with your friends in the summer, because that's what we did every day.
Yeah.
All right, well, I want to get to my favorite segment of the show, which is blank versus blank.
All right.
No prep for this. So I'm going to give you 2 things, 2 anything. You got to pick one and tell me why.
Okay.
First one, football or rugby?
Oh, rugby all day. And then the reason why is I as soon as I started playing rugby, I became very disinterested in football. I appreciate like the tactics of football and the plays, but I don't like the hyper specialization of football. I think that rugby also has hyper specialization. Obviously, like wings are really fast. You're not going to see the big prop out there. The props are big. Some of them may have bellies, but they're all really, really good athletes and really strong. And I think that it takes a lot of technical skill, and I like the free-flowingness of the game. I think the unfortunate thing with rugby is like soccer. You've got to really understand the game to understand the subtleties and understand why what was so amazing that happened. I think everyone understands that when somebody scores a breakaway try, it was big. Yeah. But they might not see that silky offload or just appreciate the crisp, like, dude, that guy just skipped 3 people with that pass and hit that guy dead on, full sprint. That's very difficult to do. So, yeah, got to go with rugby.
We get into this debate, too, sometimes with people. Which one do you think is safer?
I think rugby.
I do, too. Because you're never blind. That's one thing is when you look at someone going for a pass as your wide receiver, and you never see it coming.
Right.
Also the helmets. Mm-hmm. You know, when people ask me, I go, well...
You can use your body as a weapon.
Yeah.
As simple as that for me. Yeah.
Like rugby, you're always running onto the ball.
Right.
You know, so you should never really be. I guess there could be times where you're blindsided, but it does not happen.
No, not
as much
as
it does in football.
Yes, it's mostly due to hospital passes, stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could get clipped and not really, but it's still tough because you still know the defense is rushing up on you.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a.
I mean, I've definitely, I remember playing in a bees game or somewhere at some tournament in the fall, and I remember, I got my bell rung. So I took a knee to the head.
Oh yeah.
I think I was just trying to. I think I got tackled or something, trying to come up, and this other guy comes and bam, and next thing you know, I'm like, I thought I was in a dream. Like I was in it probably should have. Looking back, had some kind of concussion protocol or something, but I just was like, all of a sudden everything was in slow motion. And
I think the tough part with rugby and injuries and why in America we get it wrong is because we just have so many football players, and so you got to, now at a coaching thing, I will say, like, we start every season. Even we've had in our high school program, which unfortunately RIP to the high school program, been gone the last 2 years because of COVID, and now it's pretty much permanently done. However, we always started with tackling fundamentals for a solid week, like very, like from the ground up, and we had kids that represented, the United States on our team, and they're out there doing it because you got to really teach it. So yeah, I think you need to teach the specifics of rugby and really kind of enforce that, like, and have like a zero tolerance, like, this is not football, guys. Like, you've got to play, you've got to play and kind of conduct yourself this way. And if they score, so be it. Like, you know, It's just got to be safe. But I think overall, easy call. Rugby safer.
Yeah, awesome. Pro wrestling or NASCAR?
Oh man, can I say neither?
I guess, yeah.
I think I'm gonna go pro wrestling.
Okay.
Only because I don't get NASCAR, man. You're restricted. You can only take left-hand turns or whatever they're doing. Like, it's not exciting for me in the rundown. Like, I don't know.
I mean, you know where I stand on that. So.
Yeah.
I know you said you're starting to get into coffee more. Craft beer or coffee?
Oh, this one hurts. Gonna have to go coffee.
Really? Okay.
And here's why. I can have coffee in almost every setting. If I was sitting here with a coffee, I'm good. If I'm at work and I'm sitting there with a coffee, I'm good. If I'm driving my car with a coffee, I'm good. Can't do those things with beer.
Can't, no.
So from a practicality standpoint only.
I guess that makes sense.
Going with the kofefe, as they say. Yeah.
Eli Manning or his brother Peyton Manning?
Ooh, another. Man, you came up with these. Good, man.
Oh, yeah.
You're hitting me. Gotta go with Peyton.
Even though you're a Giants fan?
100%.
Okay.
Because Eli has no personality, okay? He had really clutch, short runs of brilliance. And they won 2 Super Bowls, and I love that he did that. Love it in New York. The pressure, I think not anyone could have done that. I think Eli was special. But Peyton, dude, he's just too hilarious. The commercials, the stats. He's such an ambassador. Neither brother really embroiled in any kind of scandals. But I just think Peyton, due to personality, and I think he was a better quarterback.
Peyton did get one scandal, but it was going back to his college years and.
Okay, but nothing crazy.
Yeah, but I will say, do you think Eli is a Hall of Famer?
Yes, got to be. 2 Super Bowls, the 2 runs of brilliance, you got to be. Because that's just, if it was so common, you would see it all the time. You'd have other quarterbacks that make similar runs, and they don't. And especially because he didn't do it back-to-back. It wasn't like, I had a brilliant run this season, I have a brilliant run the next season. There was some distance between those. Part of what also makes Tom Brady so great.
Well, that leads into the next question.
Uh-oh.
Now, this is a tough one. We asked this to every new guest because it was a long run, and now they're not together anymore.
Yeah.
Who is more responsible for the success of the New England Patriots, Tom Brady or Belichick?
Man.
Because this is a dividing question right now because I've never had 2 consecutive weeks where the guest agreed that I can think
I don't think you can say either one. I know that's the safe answer, but I'm going, and here's my justification. Tom Brady can obviously clearly still play. We won't go through all the stats. Everyone who's a Tom Brady fan knows all the memes, everything that he's done post 43 compared to other NFL quarterbacks, all that other nonsense and whatever, right? So you would think, oh, Tom is more responsible for the success. However, Bill is a genius of a coach. You don't have that sustained greatness without having the other piece. Nobody does it alone, right? Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, that kind of dynamic. Where Tom wins the Super Bowl and the Patriots, they didn't even make the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you would lean towards Tom, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are no joke, man. My senior drill sergeant, shout out Drill Sergeant LeBret, retired, right? That guy, unbelievable Tampa fan, friends with him on Facebook. So I've kind of de facto become a weirdly in tune with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he shares so much stuff, which shout out again, I love it. But they were a great team, man. And he's a great player, plays on a great team. So what do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, and I mean, they weren't going to win with Jameis Winston there.
No.
So I think, when you really break it down, the conversation is not over until they're both done, in my opinion.
Right.
Because
what if Bill goes to another franchise or brings the Patriots and wins the Super Bowl? Then what happens?
That's going to be, because right now the sound bites are very easy. And anybody that disliked Belichick as a sports columnist or anybody on ESPN, it was like they've been waiting for this. Like, he didn't even make the playoffs. And Tom won a Super Bowl. I'm like, yeah, that's a big difference, but let's not lie. The Patriots team just wasn't good.
Right.
So then the criticism could be, maybe Belichick's not as great as a GM as everybody thinks he is. I think he gets a lot of more flack about his GM.
I don't think if Tom Brady stayed with the Patriots, they make the playoffs, but they don't win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty dramatic how they went from what their record was, I think 12-4 to I'm not. I don't even know.
I don't think so. A lot of teams that win the Super Bowl and have a lot of success the very next season fall off. That's a very common thing in the NFL. The league gets better.
I'm just saying that the Patriots that last year with Brady. Okay, the team wasn't great. They still went 12-4.
Right. I think he was a big factor.
You know.
Yeah, I think you're right though. I think that you got to wait till the dust settles, but I don't know if you'll ever be able to untangle the two.
No.
They're peanut butter and jelly, man.
No, they really. It's pretty amazing what they were able to do. Do you prefer coaching or playing?
Ooh, if you'd asked me this years ago, I would have said absolutely playing. I find more enjoyment out of coaching because it is more sustainable. Obviously couldn't play forever. I can coach. My coaching career is now I've been coaching since 2013. It's already almost eclipsed my playing career for rugby in terms of number of years. And actually it pretty much has. And I would say coaching because you make a greater impact on people, and it's helped me grow as a person. You know, we talked about the kind of things like the Plymouth State rugby stuff, and it's like I was so pig-headed and such a jerk I don't think I was ever a bad guy, but you know, I've done a lot of growing up, and a lot of that has come through coaching, because now when you can see it and you can see the young men and women that you coach and mentor and train and all that other stuff, like I got guys that are now in college and they call me up, hey coach. I'm like, dude, you're a grown man.
That's rewarding.
Yeah. And so, definitely coaching.
Did you enjoy more playing at Plymouth, or I'm assuming you played for Amoskeag?
Played for Amoskeag and Mystic, yep. So
okay.
I would say Plymouth State was probably my most enjoyable rugby time, despite the rocky start with the team. And I didn't play my senior year. I played for Amoskeag my senior year, so I only played 3 at Plymouth. But yeah, I mean, what a wild ride, and what a really good time, from being like that stubborn, really good player that they played begrudgingly to winning that national championship and giving everybody hugs and burying the hatchet. And hey, man, I remember what I said to some of those guys. I was like, hey, I did it for you. I'm out here with, I didn't know my face was broken at the time.
Yeah.
But my eye was swollen shut and I was spitting blood. And I was like, hey, man, I'm out here for you because I'm a sophomore. I'm here next year. That team, I think it was me and Kevin Cloutier were the only underclassmen that started on that team. Everyone else graduated. So
yeah, I remember because they did a picture. It's crazy, though. It is crazy how winning can like fix everything sometimes.
Yeah.
It really does.
Well, like I said, over the course of that spring, I'd realized how much of an idiot I was. So I just started working hard, and I was like, hey, I'm out here to play. And so, yeah.
All right, I got 2 very difficult ones coming up.
Oh, no. All right, send it.
And
I thought they'd been pretty hard.
We don't put your feet to the fire on these because we like to also give shout-outs to people. So we like to say their names on here. I got 2 players that were older than me when I was on the team, and kind of looked up to them as like they were like kind of the leaders of the team at the time.
You talking about Plymouth State rugby?
Plymouth State.
Okay.
The first one, I got Mike Patassi or Dan Jones.
For what?
Just who would you take? You got to keep one.
Didn't see enough of Dan, so
Did he? Okay.
He was already gone by the time I got there. I knew who he was. He had come and visited some time, and becoming alumni, I've connected with him most of the time. Shout out to the play-by-play voice of the New England Free Jacks.
Is he?
Is Dan Jones?
No, he's
none
not.
other. Yeah, I was stunned. Saw that in the stands. I was like, "You're the guy."
I got to get to one of these games.
Yeah, it was a good time. But I'm gonna have to go with Mike Patassi just because of the attitude and the swagger, man. When he played at Plymouth State, the guy was ridiculous. He did the high step down the tri-zone against St. A's. I was like, is this really happening? I thought this was like a respectful gentleman's game. I guess not.
Well, they were pretty nasty, I remember, the St. A's fans. We'd always crush them, but they'd be jerks on the sidelines. So
yeah, it's St. C's, man. They think they're better than you. So.
If I'm not mistaken, I think they both played together in high school, and I could be wrong on
Dan Jones and Mike
know
Patassi? I'm not sure.
I
know
Mike played.
Mike played for Greenwich, which is a really good high school team. So
I feel like they both were from there, but again, now I'm not sure. We're going back so long; it could be very wrong.
No idea. Don't know about Dan's high school past. Yeah. Not sure.
Well, and when I first started, he was the guy really making the decisions and the coach.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. Both great guys.
Yep, both great guys.
And toughest one here.
Okay.
I got Rob House.
Ooh.
Or Jim Brady.
Oh, man.
I know. Again, 2 great guys.
Oh, this is gutted.
Yeah.
See, everybody likes Jim Brady. You can't not like Jim Brady.
I mean, Jim, there's...
All right, I'm going...
You gotta love them both.
Roberto Howe's final answer, only reason is... I'm not getting weird with this, Rob. Don't take this the wrong way. But as a human being, I played, so Rob was at Plymouth at the time, but came back and played some high school matches with it because he was under 19. So guy always wants to play rugby. And it was an opportunity for him to play with his younger brother, Michael. They were outside the same high school or 4-year window. They were just outside it. So that's where I met him. And I learned a lot at those practices from him. And, continuing on through, because I butted heads with him quite a few times over some stuff. And we disagree about a lot. But I've never met a person, part of the greatness, and maybe you want to talk of Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
Not that they're, I guess, in the same league. I don't know. But bringing people together and getting stuff organized and getting people interested in it, right? Like me and you, we met up at that bar and we ran by chance, and I was like, hey, man, come to the alumni game. Rob is the entire reason the alumni game exists. Yeah. They win the national championship the next year. He goes, there were so many seniors on that team. We need to come back and play an alumni game. We need to have this.
Because I don't think there was one before that.
No, there was not to my knowledge. And so he was the reason behind that. He was the glue, at least my entire time there, and I assume it was no different. I mean, I know he had Dan Jones earlier on in his career, but the guy is just the glue, man. So shout out to Rob, man. Yeah. I mean, and so I got to go with Rob. But no disrespect to the legend, Jim Brady.
Yeah, they're both great guys. There's a lot of great guys. I mean, Matt Kennedy, Skeeter.
Yeah.
So many awesome guys got to play with. And I'll say, when I did eventually get to the alumni game, because I think it took me over a decade to do it, to even show my face there, it was just so good to see those guys. Mm-hmm. And you go back to like the good times that you have.
Absolutely.
But this has been a lot of fun, Chris.
I had a great time.
We'll have to have you back sometime.
We were talking about, I didn't think the time would go by this fast. It has definitely gone by that fast.
It goes by fast.
It really does. So
surprised. But everybody out there, if you can, again, if you like the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like it, share, comment, whatever it is. But everybody keep your heads up out there. And until next week, let freedom ring.